The Bible is the most popular book ever written. It's the number one best-selling book of every single week, of every single month, of every single year. In the United States, Bible sales are estimated to be over $500 million every year. And it's estimated that there have been more than 10 billion Bibles in whole that have been printed and distributed, not counting the various sections of the Bible or individual books of the Bible. Even though the popularity of the Bible is remarkable, that's not the reason that anybody should believe it's God's Word. Some people suggest that the Bible we have now is not the one that the writers actually wrote. They claim that the Bible is filled with mistakes and that the original message has been lost. This claim, it can't be sustained. When we compare the books of the Bible to all other ancient historical books, what we find is that they outstrip the competition in every single category. Now, let's look at the evidence. First, the books of the Bible are the most consistent writings in the world. The first books of the Old Testament were written in about 1450 BC. The last books of the New Testament were written before 100 AD. That means that the 66 books of the Bible are separated by about 1,600 years. They were written by about 40 different authors in at least 3 primary languages, and yet when we compare the text, there's not a single contradiction between the books. While skeptics allege that they found numerous contradictions, not a single legitimate contradiction has ever been sustained. No other ancient books can boast of any consistency that compares to this. Second, the books of the Bible are the most historically accurate books in the world. Literally thousands of archaeological finds have been discovered that verify in minute detail the facts of the Bible. Even people who have attempted to disprove the Bible in the past, they've been convinced of its accuracy by looking at the archaeological evidence. Finds such as the Pool of Siloam, the David inscription, the Moabite stone, the Pilate inscription continue to build confidence in the accuracy of the Bible. Other books from history such as Herodotus and Josephus, they've been shown to be riddled with errors. In fact, other religious books such as the Book of Mormon and the Quran have proven to have inaccuracies in them. It's simply a matter of fact, of literary fact, that the Bible is the most historically accurate book in the world. And third, the text of the books of the Bible has the highest integrity of any books in the world. When we talk about the integrity of a book, what we mean is simply the confidence that we have that the text we currently have in modern times is the one that the authors of the books originally penned. We arrive at this idea by collecting ancient copies of the books. Copies done in the original language, those are called manuscripts. When we look especially at the New Testament books of the Bible, we find that we have more manuscripts that are closer to the time of the original books when they were written than any other books in the world. Now, currently, there are about 5,700 different manuscripts that contain parts of the New Testament books. Well, how does this number compare to other ancient books? When we look at some other very famous ancient books, like Homer's Iliad, it was written in probably about 700 BC. We don't know when the date of the earliest manuscript that we have dates to, but we have about 643 manuscripts of it. The history of Herodotus. Herodotus was one of the most famous ancient historians. Well, it was written in about 425 BC. The earliest manuscript we have of it is from about 900 AD, which is some 1,300 years after it was written. And we only have 8 manuscripts of the history of Herodotus. And then there's the Jewish historian Josephus. It was written in approximately AD 70. The earliest manuscript we have of his work, it dates to about 900 AD, more than 800 years after his works were written. And we only have, depending on how you count the manuscripts, about 120 manuscripts of his text. Tacitus, another very famous Roman historian, wrote his material in about 100 AD. The earliest manuscript we have of it is from about 900 AD, and there are only about 20 manuscripts of his works in total. When we look at the New Testament books, they were written between 35 and 100 AD. The earliest manuscript we have dates to about 135 AD. That's only about 30 to 75 years after the text was written, and we have over 5,700 manuscripts. Not to mention early translations and quotations from Christian writers. It is a matter of historical fact that the text of the New Testament books has the most integrity and accuracy of any book ever written. Now, based on this evidence, Bible scholar F.F. Bruce stated, "It's a curious fact that historians have often been much readier to trust the New Testament records than have many theologians. In every category that matters, the books of the Bible outshine their competitors. Those who insist that the Bible is filled with errors or that the text has not been preserved accurately, they simply aren't being honest with the text and the way that literature is preserved throughout history. Indeed, heaven and earth will pass away, but the word of the Lord endures forever."